I am Ajoe Joseph. I am a Google developer expert in cloud AI. I'm also a community lead with Code Vipassana, which is a community by Google. I am a software engineer, entrepreneur, thinker, mentor, speaker, you name it, I claim it. So, lot many titles to go along with me, but that's a short intro about who I am. And if you're curious to know what Code Vipassana is, there's a link for you to check it out. It's a community where we mainly focus on data to AI applications. We've empowered over 60,000 developers across India and Japan. And just a short, sneak peek of what our build and blog marathon hackathon is all about. So you get to come down to offices and build, and now obviously it would be based on AI Studio and Antigravity. So you learn whatever you learn from here, you implement it in different places. Misusing models. Yeah. How many of you have watched this movie before? Come on. The other guys are telling me you've not watched Aladdin. Really? What is the speciality of this movie? What is this movie all about? Huh? Greed. Okay, that is not the answer I was looking for. What makes this movie special? The genie, yeah. Have you happened to see the genie anywhere? Yes or no? Yes, where? Where? On the, that is so not me. I mean, I wish. There's a small story behind this, you know. So I generated the same image back when Nano Banana wasn't there, and this is what I got. I used a sample image. I said, you know, this is my image. Turn me into a genie. ChatGPT ended up giving me this, and I was so proud of what I built. You know, I was so proud of what I got as an output. I showed this to my dad, and he's like, "Nah," he disowned me. He's like, "This is not my son." Then I had to go back and prompt it again, make some refinements. I'm like, this is my picture. Make it look exactly like me. And probably that's the first genie you see with a glass or with the specs. So yeah, welcome to the world of AI. And while I'm here, I'll give you three chances. I'll give three people a chance to make a wish. If it is possible, I can grant it. Who wants to make a wish? Now we have to be quick. Yeah, tell me. Free? Claude AI. You come down to a Google workshop and how dare you ask me for Claude? Next question. Next wish. I can give you credits though for GCP. What else? What else? It is 1 against 350. What else? I think I don't need a mic at this point. What else? No wishes. Man, you guys are dry. Anyone? No wishes? Yeah. Huh? See, I don't wish to get fired right here. One more wish. I'll take one more wish. Huh? Yeah, you can say. I didn't get you. Oh, it's a game. Sorry, I don't play games. Okay, I didn't catch that. But okay, we'll see. Now, since you guys already made wishes, look at the board again. It's called attention to detail, guys. You guys are college students. You think I don't know my grammar, my basic grammar, that I went ahead and put an exclamation mark before the sentence? Too bad. But anyways, since I had 3 volunteers, I have a tiny gift for you. Catch. I don't know how I'll reach you, but I'll try. You, catch. Now, with each answer, you get something. You get a reward. So it is your wish if you want to answer or not. Makes me come down to my thing as to why I'm here to take a session on anti-gravity. But coming down to any core concept of any AI model or any no-code builder, it is all about what? I heard the answer. It is all about vibe coding, but what is the principle behind that? Prompting. Yeah, exactly. So it's all about prompting. It comes down to that very basic concept. If you don't know how to prompt a model well, you're going nowhere. It's going to go in a loop, round and round and round, but you won't find an answer. You won't get what you expect. You have an idea in your mind, you want that to be seen on your laptop or on your system, you have to prompt it well. So that is where prompting comes in. Now I want you guys to stand up. Stand up. You thought I was going to let you sleep? Nah. Stand. We're going to do, you can keep your laptops down. It's not a punishment. I'm going to give you a small task. Now you follow along. Everyone ready? All right. Raise hand. Turn around. The instruction is such. Turn around. Shake hands. All right, yeah, we'll go over with that. Face me, back again, back again. One more time. Raise hand. Turn around. Shake hand. All right. Now, the person who gives me the right answers can sit down. What are the 3 mistakes that you did? Or there were more, but. One by one. Yeah. You didn't say which hand to raise, but did you ask me which hand to raise? Some of them did, not you. Okay, you can sit down. Who else? Who else? Yeah, no. Hands, raise hands. Yeah, tell me. Yeah. It wasn't mentioned how to shake hands. Yes, correct. Sit. Yeah, raise your hand, man. Tell me. Direction to turn around wasn't mentioned. Yes, correct. Then, anyone from that side? Nobody? Kya bhai? Yeah, tell me. Till when you raise your hand. Yes, that is a very good observation. Then you. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mention whose hand to shake. Yes, correct. By the end of this session, I'll have a tennis elbow, man. Okay, sit. So when we did this exercise, I observed some stuff. So I asked you to raise hand, and I did hear some people ask me which hand, but I ignored that, obviously, for obvious reasons. And I saw someone doing this, I saw someone doing this, I saw someone doing this. I was like, in what part is this a hand? These are hands. Then the next person I see, I ask you to turn around, he's like, where is the exit? I'm going. That's the second part I'm hearing. Third of all, I asked you to shake hands. I pity the guys who are sitting on the left, the outside corners. He's like, who do I do it with? And then I randomly see another dude, he's like, this is not a dancing event, bro. So it all comes down to how well defined your prompt is. Had I been clear with my instructions as to what I want, see, in my mind, I know if I ask you to raise a hand, you will raise a left hand or a right hand. If I ask you to turn around, I know that you will turn around and face me. If I ask you to shake hands, I mean you shake hands. But I know you don't. Exactly what happens with your models. You have an idea, but your model doesn't. Your model is not a genie. I am, but your model ain't. So you have to be specific about what you prompt. So that's a basic understanding of what prompting is. I hope you take your prompting seriously. Coming on to Antigravity, it's Google's IDE. How many of you have it installed already? Haven't. Attention to detail. Yeah. So for those of you who haven't installed it yet, go ahead and install it. While I buy time for you guys, you can do that. What is anti-gravity? What is anti-gravity? Wait, I'm not going to get answers this way. What is anti-gravity? Tell. I'll try left hand this time. Yeah. Prompt? I didn't get you. Vibe code? Vibe coding itself is an art. I said, what is anti-gravity? Yeah. It's an agentic ID. Exactly what I was looking for. What else? I'll give you one more chance. Don't say the same thing. Wow! That was sarcasm, by the way. All right. So what is anti-gravity? It is Google's agentic IDE. So let's see if it plays. Okay, it does.
Model intelligence for coding encourages us to rethink what development should look like. Gemini is our latest such model. So we went on to build the next section of an IDE. Introducing Google Antigravity, a new way for this next era of agentic intelligence. It is the ideal agentic development home base. Does it have an IDE? Yes, but it also has a whole lot more. We started with the core IDE and added pieces that evolve the IDE towards an agent-first solution, such as browser use, asynchronous interaction times, and an additional novel agent-first product format, helping you experience it now.
Your new focus is architecting the solution, not implementing every single step. So congratulations. You have been elevated to a manager of agents.
Yeah, that is enough. Now tell me 3 things that you saw in that video. Attention to detail. Or heard. Yeah, tell me 3 things you saw or heard. I'm running out of chocolates, guys. Tell. Huh? He's Kevin. Smart. What else? Yeah. Lifting the sofa. We're focusing on technical stuff here. Yeah. Yeah. Anti-gravity helps you lift your coding skills. Okay. Anyways. Sorry. Yeah.
We don't really need to do everything when we can actually use the help of the AI to help us do what we want.
Isn't that what all models do? What is specific to anti-gravity, man? No, see, anti-gravity itself has a word there. Yeah. Huh? First what? Huh? Was Anshul. Meet me after this, okay? What else? Yeah. Yeah, so there's one word there. It's an agentic ID. Yeah, I'm still good at throwing. Yeah, so we explored a lot of things in there. So you had an agent manager, you had an agentic browser, you had your ID as itself. So a lot of things that you saw there. So none of you all paid attention. Come on. All right, anyways, we'll explore that.
Instead of an agent living in your
Agent manager. Familiar with this word? Saw this somewhere? Yes or no? In the video. Smart. Yeah, so agent manager, so anti-gravity on the whole is more like multiple agents running together to achieve one goal. How many of you wish you had personal assistants? You for the kings, bro. So everyone wishes they had a personal assistant or someone that can do things for you without you having to, follow up with them. It's like having your own chauffeur. It's like having your own chef. They know what to do. They know their stuff. So that's exactly what anti-gravity does. You give it the end goal. It makes sure that it spins up agents and it does its work. So that is where agent manager comes in. So agent manager view looks like this, wherein you have 3 different areas. So one is for work, it's called workspaces. The top part of your agent manager view, it's called workspaces, wherein you open up your folder or your workspaces in other terms. Then you have a playground. Playground is basically if you're creating something, you want to see whether it works, rather than deploying it on my production database and making that crash. I can spin up a sandbox, execute it there, figure out if it works or not, make any changes necessary. It doesn't affect my production. Conversations is where your day-to-day task comes in. So you talking to your agents, you talking to your models, that's where the conversations tab come in. So this is a high-level idea of what agent manager does. Yeah. All right. And then you also have an open editor right on top. So editor view basically is your VS Code. So VS Code is an open source thingy. So you basically have that same layout in most of the IDEs. So this is what your editor view looks like. So it looks very familiar if you've used VS Code before. Now, if you're fancy and you say, I only use IntelliJ, then I don't know what to do with you. But this is what VS Code or Antigravity's UI looks like. Then you have an agentic browser. Now, what makes a browser different from an agentic browser? Don't tell me it's run by agents. I'll throw this on you. The AI is integrated into the browser. Not exactly, but okay. Yeah. It can act on your behalf. What can act on your behalf? The browser. You want to rephrase that? I'll give you 2 minutes. Yeah. Automatic debug by agents. Yeah, that is true. Cats. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you can get it from him if you're friends. Yeah. What else? What else? Nothing else. Yeah. Exactly. The browser can execute. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you. So browser can execute tasks or anything can run in your browser without your intervention. That is basically what an agentic browser is all about. Or in other words, your agent is the one that is acting on your behalf, doing all the stuff on your internet, or in your cloud, in your Chrome. And it is capable of accessing web and context for research. It is capable of using a sandbox to test your web applications. Like I said, you don't have to deploy stuff to your production to check whether it works or not. Then it automatically takes screenshots, creates a walkthrough of what it has implemented. It gives you a video you can play and see whether stuff works as expected or not. That is the agentic browser. Coming on to the concepts, artifacts. Now, this is what I said. In anti-gravity, so this is your agent view. Yeah. So in your agent view, if you happen to see, you have all these things. So you have a task list, you have plans, you have walkthroughs, screenshots, recordings, knowledge, and more. Now, what are all these? Task list basically is a checklist of what is to be done. So you give a requirement, it breaks it down to checkpoints, and it ensures that each of these checkpoints are met. That is what task list is. Plan is basically before you jump into the water, you test whether that water is shallow or deep. That is what plan does. It basically creates a plan for you to review first, and then if you're fine with it, you go ahead and implement it. Walkthrough is something that happens after implementation. So it's like saying, okay, I've developed your application and I walked around it, I explored all of these, and it works as expected. Screenshots doesn't need explanation. Recordings does not need explanation. And knowledge, we'll come back to that. Planning versus fast mode. So, how many of you think? How many of you think? I'm not surprised. Anyways, most of us are impulsive people, or we take impulsive decisions. Similarly, fast mode basically does not care what you give it as an instruction. As soon as the instruction lands and you click on enter, it goes ahead and starts working on it. It does not even know what is there in the context. That is where your model tends to lose out on what it's supposed to build. But the planning mode basically goes through the entire prompt, make sure each of whatever you want to do is listed as a task, and then executes that. That is the difference between this. So planning mode can be used if you're developing something. Your fast mode can be used if you want to just have a chat with your agent when your girlfriend is not responding. Designs and images. So Antigravity has Nano Banana model integrated into it. So how many of you use Nano Banana? Wow. Yeah. I wish I had Nano Banana before. Yeah, so it helps you create UI mockups and logos, assets. It basically, since it's integrated into Antigravity, if you want to have a UI design or anything in terms of images, you can use Antigravity. You can use Nano Banana inside Antigravity to generate the mockups. Rules. What are rules? You being students, you should know this more. Constraints, exactly. Sorry, I have only 3. Yeah, not constraints, chocolates. Oh, for me to throw. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so constraints. Those are rules. Now, so rules are basically denoted in markdown files. Now, what are markdown files? It is basically an instruction file that you create, which tells your model, okay, these are things that you are allowed to do, these are things that you're not supposed to do. So your model knows on every iteration, on every call, your model knows, okay, this is what I'm not supposed to do, this is what I'm supposed to do. And you can create a markdown file inside Antigravity, and your chat or your agent will use that markdown file to check what are my rules. So those are rules. Then you have skills. What are skills? What are skills? Something that I have. Specialization, exactly. Specializations that can be reused. Those are skills. In other words, your repetitive tasks can be noted as a skill. Just have that basic idea. Yeah. So anything that has to be done repetitively, repeatedly. Let's say you want to document your stuff, your code. So what do? You normally create a skill and say, okay, analyze my repository, get my git diff, and just go and document whatever I've done so far. So those are skills. So skills.md file contains your agent's skills. We'll explore that. So it's basically a reusable knowledge package that enhance an agent's capabilities. Like I said, it can automate workflows, it can standardize review, and also test generation. So instead of test, I told you documentation. That's the only difference. How many of you heard of MCP? Okay, 1, 2, 3. You don't get chocolates for that, but okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Some of you. What is MCP? That I know. You just read it from the board. What is MCP? You just read that from the board. What is MCP? Is that written there? Connecting agents. You're close. Resources that you provide to your agents. Exactly. So in other terms, catch. Yeah. In other words, you would have data that you need to refer to. Yeah. So those data can be fetched using an MCP server. You don't have to manually copy paste your entire data into your chat, bloat it, not get whatever you want to get. That's a mess. So instead of that, you use a MCP server. So that basically gives you accesses to your other resources. So maybe you want to refer to your database. Maybe you want to refer to your company's other products or services. You can use an MCP server. How many of you know Swiggy has an MCP server? Oh, 1, 2, glad. How many of you know GitHub has a MCP server? Yeah, okay, fine. How many of you use GitHub? Child. Okay. This is what we are going through on a day-to-day basis. Everyone is moving away from writing code to orchestrating systems. Personally, I don't like coding. Yeah, so it's not my thing. I like to orchestrate systems. I like to design systems. I like to architect systems. That is where the world is moving in, and that is where exactly we are heading in this workshop. Building an app. Design to code. So you can use images as your input, you can use text as your input, you can use anything as your input, your MCP servers as well. So Google has a product called a Stitch. So how many of you have heard of Stitch? Yeah, so it basically creates design mockups for you. You can use that, paste the image inside your agent chat, ask you to create that, it will create it. So it knows. You can quickly bring your designs with images and other designs to life. That is basically what we do. Building an app, you quickly start with a prototype. Okay, let me see this video, please. Are you able to see? Okay. Basic idea is you chat. Yeah, you set it to plan mode first. The plan mode creates a what? Plan. Or in other terms, checklist. Who said that? You said that. Okay, very good. I'll give you a handshake later. So checklist. It creates a checklist first, and the checklist knows, okay, or your agent knows that it has to cross all those checkpoints. And yeah, like I said, follow along the task list, and then you review. So you are the reviewer here. Like I said, you are the orchestrator, you are the architect, you are the person who owning the agents. You are the master. So you have to review the output that your agent gives you. So one thing that anti-gravity enables you to do is you can rapidly prototype. You have an idea, you prompt it well enough, it gives you what you want. Yeah, so that is what we're going to do. Testing part of it. So we know that no product goes into the market without proper testing. So anti-gravity does that on its own. So you ask it to test the workflow, it does it. It spins up your which browser? I will kill you. Which browser? Chrome, but it has a different agentic browser. Who said that? You said that. Okay, you're the last lucky one. Okay, so agentic browser, it spins up an agentic browser, and that agentic browser basically goes through, clicks on each individual elements, and then figures out whether that particular functionality works or not. So that is what testing side of anti-gravity looks like. Now, this is something that I tell all of my students. I say, many people say AI is going to take over your job, AI is going to take over your job. But as an engineer, I would say it might take over jobs, but it's not going to take over my job because I use AI. So you need to learn how to play with what is already there in the market. So you equip yourself, you become industry ready, there's no going back. Yeah? All right, you still have treats here, so I do expect answers. Okay, before we go into that, what do we do? Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Head over to this site, bit.ly/antigravity-lab. Is everyone on this code lab? Do you want the link again? All right. It's bit.ly/antigravity-lab. Yeah, I have more in store. Everyone on the code lab? Yes or no? All right, I'm assuming you guys are on this code lab. I mean, if you're not. You're not? Okay. I'll give you 2 minutes. No, 1 minute. All right, let's go ahead with the lab. So you will ideally land on a code lab that looks like this. Now, what are we building? Any idea? Any idea? What are we building? Apps. Who said that? Smart answer. Who said that? Web apps. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, but I want context and to deploy it. What apps are we building? What does it look like? Guys, what does it look like? Huh? I can't hear you. Agentic apps, smart. You come to an agentic workshop, anything and everything is agentic. Yeah, smart. Serverless application, who said that? That is the answer, exactly. You're going to deploy your stuff, you have to come and get it. or you pass it on from here. Pass it. It has to reach the rightful owner, by the way. Yeah. So we're going to build a serverless application. So your entire backend service is going to be hosted on something called as Cloud Run. So Cloud Run is your serverless deployment platform. What exactly are we building here, if you ask me? It is basically you're going to upload any file onto your cloud storage bucket. Now imagine your cloud storage bucket to be your Google Drive. If you upload something to your Google Drive, let's take it as an alias here. Yeah, and that Google Drive, once you upload, you will see a progress bar that goes very slow, depending on your internet connection. And once that hits completed, you see a check mark. So once it completes uploading, it triggers an event. And that event goes into something called as PubSub. What is PubSub? PubSub. Yeah, I heard that answer. Who said that? What do you say? Publisher and subscriber. Rightfully right answer. Yeah. So PubSub is basically publisher and subscriber. So it has a topic wherein your events get logged to. Now, what does your Cloud Run service do? Your Cloud Run service is what hosts your what? Your application, your backend logic. So it has to process your uploaded document, figure out the metadata of that document or whatever content that document has, and push it to BigQuery, which is your what? Where do you store stuff? Cloud, obviously. Database, yeah? It's a data warehouse. So database is for small data. Data warehouse is for big data. It's only difference. Yeah. So we gonna upload a file to your cloud storage. Your cloud storage pushes a trigger. Sorry, it pushes an event into PubSub, and your Cloud Run service picks it up from there and extracts information, pushes it to your BigQuery. That is exactly what we'll be doing. Now, before we do that, I have a tiny task for you. In the first step of your lab, scroll all the way down. You will find something called as gcloud CLI. Click on this. I'll repeat it. In the first step, scroll all the way down. You will find something called as gcloud CLI. You click on that. It takes you to a page which says install the Google Cloud CLI. So you scroll down, select your OS version from here, download the package, extract it, do it now. I'm going to spawn my agents now. So if you need help, you can. Where are my volunteers? Volunteers? Okay. Agents are not responding at the moment, but orchestrators here, don't worry. So download your respective versions of your CLI, install it. So why do I need a CLI? That's how many of you thought that? Nobody thought that? Really? Okay. Then I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I'll give you precisely 2 minutes, 21 seconds to figure that out. Need help? Raise your hand. I shall come there. Okay. Cool. How many of you have installed this already? How many of you already have it? Okay, some of you. Okay, the rest of you do it. If you have doubts, raise your hand. I shall come there, except for internet speed. I'm not responsible. Are we all good here? Yes? Yes or no? Okay. Are we all good here? Yes? Are we all good there? Yes. All right. Did you answer any of my questions? No. Wrong question. My bad. I expect answers. You know,
It happened with me also. When
you. How many of you raised your hand from this side? Look at you. Not you. You. What was your answer? If you happen to recollect that, I shall give you this. Antigravity. That I know. Yeah. I saw your hand like this. Yeah. Tell me. What was your answer? MCP. Yeah. What is it? It is used to transfer context from one agent to another agent. Nah. Nah. Then now we are all. Hello. Hello. Let's do one thing. We play a game. When I say hello, say hi. When I say hi, you say hello. Hi. Hello. Bonjour. You don't have an answer to that, do you? All right. So once you've installed your CLI, you can follow steps. CLI should be in your downloads folder. So once you've extracted your CLI, the folder into your downloads folder, you go ahead and run the fourth step. So how do I do that? I'll just copy this. I'll open up my terminal. Yeah, so I'll open up my terminal. I'll have to go to my downloads. So you can use CD, which basically stands for change directory. You go to your downloads, you basically paste this. That's all you have to do. It'll install. I'll repeat the steps. Download the CLI package from the internet. It goes to your downloads folder ideally. Extract the folder there. Open up your terminal. Go to your downloads folder. Run this exact command or the fourth step from that documentation.
While we're installing, we're thinking of taking a quick picture with everyone. in the
Yeah,
background.
sure.
We'll take a selfie real quick.
you can announce, while you are installing it.
Yeah, I can. I mean,
Yeah, you can just
are we bring them here or they stay there?
they just no one is moving anything.
Yeah, that is what I was thinking. Okay, let's see what is up
That's
to.
too much friction.
Yes, you raise your one.
All right, everyone. While you're installing, we're going to go ahead and just get a picture with the wonderful Googlers that are here today. Let's give a round of applause one more time for our awesome speakers and everyone. Krishna and Sanjay really pulled through to make this such a wonderful event. So I just want to get a picture with all of us in the background. So let's go on in here, everyone.
You'll have to come down to our height.
Perfect. And one more picture with thank you so much.
Thank you.
And a professional photo too.
Thank you. Oh.
It is such a fun session. I love it.
We'll meet sometime.
Yeah, so we keep meeting.
Yeah, yeah. Unexpectedly.
Thank you again so much. Hopefully you beat some traffic.
Yeah.
No promises though.
She'll check with some organizers who
Yeah.
can make it. If not, I will send some Googlers again.
Sounds good. We have one other Googler too.
Okay.
Yeah. If I spoiled the photo, so. Run.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
So what's happening now?
Then installing CLI.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you too. I mean, I'm still saying. But yeah, you're crushing it. It's really
All right, so once you're done installing your, yeah, you have a doubt? Yeah.
Coming up like this, it's not showing the downloads.
Cloud STK, why you didn't say that? No, close this. Open up your normal terminal. CMD. Command prompt, yeah. CMD. Yeah, exactly. It looks like that. So now CD to downloads. CD download. Yeah. And from there you run the fourth step.
Thank you.
Everyone done installing the CLI? Can I see a raise of hands? How many of you've already installed it? Set it up, done? Yeah. What are the rest of you waiting for? Guys, Wi-Fi speed. Okay. Appreciate it. See you around, madam. Bye bye. Lovely having you. I didn't know it is your session today because it was April 14th. I saw April 14th on your poster and I thought maybe it was May 14th and they messed it up. And then, but I saw Ramaya there and I was like, okay, maybe it's the next week. And then I was surprised to see you there. I was like, oh.
You please send and also please send.
In the morning when she came, she told me that the second session is some guy come with a plan.
Some guy.
No, before asking who it was, this grand came and started talking to me, so I forgot. And then I see you.
I came only to beat the traffic. I come from all the way from Whitefield. So at the end, where do you stay?
I stay near Bagmani.
Oh, okay. I have to go from there. I stay towards the end of the purple line. Pretty. Six to 10. Half day again.
Sure.
Okay, I'll see you around then. See you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. I know you will come back, but anyways. All right. Welcome back. You had your tea break. I hope you're enjoying. Coming back to anti-gravity. Now, guys. All right. So this is what your anti-gravity IDE looks like. Yeah. This is your home screen. You will find open folder, open agent manager, clone repository, all this stuff there. And we're going to create a project folder first. So you go ahead and either create a folder first or just click on open folder here. I'm just going to go here and click on open folder. I'll go to my documents. I'll just create a new file, or sorry, a new folder called as anti-gravity. You can name it anything you want. Just create a folder. That's all you have to do. And you open it up in anti-gravity. So do that. So if it asks you to trust the authors, obviously I'm the owner, so I trust myself. Yes. And ideally you should see anti-gravity or whatever folder name that you just gave it appear there. Now, this is where the magic begins. You go back to your terminal. Now remember, where is my folder? It is in documents. So I'm going back to that particular folder. So I'll go to CD documents. And inside documents, I have anti-gravity as my folder. So go into the folder which you just created. Fair and square. You create a folder, open up terminal, CD into that particular folder. Yes or no? Yes? Following? 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 All right. So, anyone hungry? I need hands. Are you hungry? Okay. Sorry, I have limited stock. Yeah, that is not intended for you. It is for him. Sorry. All right. So go into your folder you just created and cd into it. Once you're in there, just run gcloud init. Just run gcloud init. So basically, you're initializing Google Cloud. Simple. Hit enter. Wow. Now I'm going to give you a list of options. I mean, I think you would have already seen that during your installation, but regardless of that, run it. So gcloud init, when you run it, it will ask you, it will give you a set of options here. Now let's look at the options. It says pick a configuration to use. So basically, we're going to create a configuration. What is a configuration? It is basically a settings. We're going to create some settings here. Now, by default, my account is set to whatever my email is, and my project is also set to antigravity-workshop. Now, where does that project come from? Remember in the first session, you went to your cloud console and you created a project? Yes? Yes or no? Guys. All right. So I'll show it to you once more. Does everyone have cloud credits already? Yes? Okay, awesome. We will go back to your browser and go to console.cloud.google.com. So this is what you should see it. So go to console.cloud.google.com. Yeah. Open up console.cloud.google.com. You should land on a page like this. Everyone with me? Yes or no? Guys. Guys. Hello. 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 Hi. All right. So you should ideally be on a page that looks like this. Yeah. So here, if you see next to your Google Cloud logo right on top, you have a project picker or a project selector. You click on that. Click on this open project picker. You see a button called as new project. So go ahead and click on new project. And here, give any name you want. So you decide what your project should be named as. So you go give it any name. So let's say workshop hyphen anti-gravity. Yeah. All right. So if it asks you to select a billing account, just select whatever is there in the drop down. Ideally, you won't have it because you only have one billing account. But if it asks you, just go ahead and select the trial billing account. Organization, leave it as it is. Now, note one thing, you have to use your personal Gmail. The same Gmail ID that you used to redeem your credits in the first session. Yes? Following? Do not use your college email, do not use your company email, it does not work. So go ahead, open up your Gmail which you use to redeem credits, go to console.cloud.google.com, click on the project picker, click on new project, enter a new project name, select the billing account if it is there, click on create. Click on create. Now I'm not going to do that because I only have 2 in my quota left, but you go ahead and do that. So once that is done, you will see a status somewhere around here. If you see that, you'll find the status here. So just go ahead. Okay, anyways, I'll create a project. I'll make it easy for you guys. Workshop, anti-gravity. I'll go ahead and create. Now once I create, you see the notification bar pops up and it is telling me, okay, this project has been set up, and click on select a project. Now there are two ways you can select a project. One is you select it from the notification, the notifications, or you can also click on this project picker from here. That is next to your Google Cloud logo, you will have a project picker. Click on that, select your project from this list. Yeah, do that. All right. Everyone done with project creation? Yes, guys. Yes or no? Yes. All right. Now, once you've done setting up your project, the guy in green, can I help you? I can't hear you. No, behind you. Downloading. What? CLI. Still. Wonderful. Okay. So once you've done setting up your project, yeah, you go back to your terminal. Now, your terminal asks you, what do you want to do? We are going to create a new configuration. Leave all the existing configurations. Just go ahead and create a new configuration. So click on number 2. It may differ for you. So read through, and whichever number states create a new configuration, go with that. Now, it asks you to enter a configuration name. So this is just giving your configuration a name. So I will just say, what do I say? Ajoe-ant. Yeah, I know there is no correlation between that, but anyways. So you go give it any name for your configuration, just hit enter, and it is going to fire up some stuff in the backend. Here it asks you, do you want to use any of these accounts, or do you want to sign in with a new Google account? So for you, go ahead and sign in with a new Google account. So that would be option number 3 for me. I don't know for you. So whichever line that says sign in with a Google account, just go ahead with that. So I'll go ahead with 3. Let's see. And here it asks you to sign in with a Google account. Now I'm going to go ahead with my standard account, whichever account that you redeemed your credits with. So whichever account that you just used to, okay, whichever account that you just used to, what do you say, redeem your credits and create your project. Yeah, give me a minute. Yeah, once you sign in with your Google account, it'll ask you for a set of permissions. Just go ahead and click on allow. And it'll say you are now authenticated with G-Cloud CLI. Congratulations. Now is where you will see, you come back to your terminal, you will see select a project from here. Now you've already authenticated yourself. Now it says you are signed in as so and so. Now pick a cloud project to use. Now where is the project that I just created? Are you able to see the project that I just created? Oh yeah. So coming back here. So this is the project ID. Okay, keep this in mind. No matter whatever name you give for your project, this is the unique identifier for your project. So always ensure that you refer to your project ID. Now, how do you find that? You go ahead and click on the project picker again. It lists down all of your projects from here. Just look at what is given here and you come back to your terminal. Now that is 25 for me, I believe. Yeah. So go ahead and enter whatever number your project is listed as and hit enter. It will say the G-Cloud CLI configuration is configured and ready to use. Is everyone with me? Yes? Yes or no? No. How many of you say no? Okay. What is the issue? Wi-Fi. Guys. Alright, so once that is downloading, if you have a partner who has it already installed, follow along with them while yours is under installation for the sake of this workshop. Yeah, so alright. So once we're done with that, okay, so that is the G-Cloud CLI part that is nothing to do with anti-gravity, yeah, or has something to do with anti-gravity. I'll tell you why. So if you come back to your anti-gravity ID, okay, listen. Listen. All right. So when you try to deploy something or when you try to run Google Cloud commands, you would need to run that in your terminal. Now, if you run it directly in your terminal does not know what that command is. So basically, a CLI or G-Cloud CLI acts as a bridge between your local and your cloud shell. So that is where the G-Cloud CLI comes in. It is only for this deployment purposes, running any Google Cloud commands. That is where you use G-Cloud CLI. Rest of it happens in anti-gravity. Now, okay, follow along. Leave the G-Cloud CLI part aside. Yeah, guys. Okay, so once you leave the G-Cloud CLI part aside, just do it at your own time. Yeah, you come back to the code lab. In the code lab, you will be going to number 3. Yeah, go to step number 3. So step number 2 was an overview of the app, which I already gave you what we're going to build. We're going to upload a file to your cloud storage bucket. It is going to push an event to your pub sub, which is your publisher subscriber, a queue, and your backend service runs on your Cloud Run service, and it is going to take in the data from, it's going to take the event from pub sub. It is going to download the particular file from your cloud storage, process it, store the data on your BigQuery or your database. Yeah, that's what we're going to build. Now, planning the architecture. What do I do here? Now for this, you have to, scroll to your anti-gravity IDE. Go to your anti-gravity IDE. This is what you would ideally see. Yeah, right on top, on the top right corner, you'll see Open Agent Manager. Everyone with me? Guys. You want to be my assistant here? All right. So you click on this Open Agent Manager from here. It will open up this view. Now this is your agent manager view. Like we already discussed during the initial slides, you have multiple views. You have the editor view, which you saw before, which is this. You have an agent manager view, which is this. Now here, I have my anti-gravity workspace, or this is basically the name of the folder that you just created. I name my folder as anti-gravity, so hence my workspace is known as what? Anti-gravity, yeah. So I have given 3 names to 3 different sections. Who recalls that? Yeah, I heard someone say that. What did he say? Workspace. Which of these is workspace? Okay. Catch. All right. Workspace is on the top. Playground is on the bottom. Conversation is on the right side. So that is what this is. All right. So you come back to your code lab. Scroll down. You will find a prompt here. Now, if you read through the prompt, it says, I want to build a serverless event-driven document processing pipeline on Google Cloud. The architecture should be, there should be upload. So user uploads a file to my cloud storage bucket. There should be a trigger. So like I said, you push it to PubSub. So PubSub kind of triggers it. Then you have a processor, which is your backend logic, which resides on Cloud Run. And storage is done on BigQuery. So it lists out whichever services you want to use. And it says, I want to create a serverless event-driven document processing pipeline. You copy this prompt, you go back to your agent manager view, and you paste it here. Now, before you run that, make sure that a plan is being displayed in your chat. So if you do not see this plan, just click on this plus and you'll find a plan here. Make sure this plan is listed here. Yeah, so once that is there, you go ahead and run this prompt. So go ahead and run that prompt. Now let's see what happens. Now, can anyone tell me what is happening? So what is running this? No. There's a particular name for it. What exactly is running my prompt right now? No. You're close. Agent manager, but what is running that? You're close. You want to reconsider? You want to scratch out something? What is running this? You are in an agent manager view. So what is running that? An agent, exactly. So an agent is running that. So if you want to spawn multiple agents on the same project, you just go ahead and initiate a new chat. Simple. So every agent runs asynchronously. In other terms, it does not wait for one person to finish for it to do its job. It runs simultaneously. Yeah, so if you want to run multiple agents, open up a new chat, give it the context, run it. This is going to run parallelly. That is the beauty of what? Antigravity. Yeah. All right. So since I selected plan, I have an implementation plan here. Now, where do I find that from? You go ahead and click on this small icon which says toggle changes panel. That is next to your open editor button. You will find the toggle changes. Click on that. You will find an implementation plan here. Click on that. I'll repeat it. On the next to the open editor button that you have something called as toggle changes panel. Click on that. You will find an implementation plan. Click on that. Now, what exactly does your implementation plan tell you? What exactly does your implementation plan tell you? Yeah, I heard some answers. What to do step by step, exactly. So what and all is listed there? You scroll through your implementation plan and find out what is listed there. Still not come up, okay. So who has your implementation plan? Ready? Okay, what else is there? You have a goal, you have an architecture, exactly. What else? You have suggestions, exactly. Sorry, okay. What else? Proposed changes, yes. What else? Verification plan, yes, or in other words, testing plan. So all of that is given in your implementation. So obviously, when you're developing something, you will have a goal to meet, you will have the changes required, you will have the files that need to be considered, you will have a testing plan, you will have a expected output. Like in other terms, I said, when you're prompting a model, you know what you want, but the model does not know that. So in Antigravity, when you create an implementation plan, it gives you all of this. It gives you a goal, it gives you the user review. Okay, that is something else. Open questions. So if you have a specific GCP project ID in your mind that you would like to use, you can provide that. So when you're deploying something, you can give your project ID. So where do you find that? You go back to your console, and this is where you find your project ID. So I'll just copy this. I'll just comment on this line. I'll say this is the project ID. I'll add the comment. Are the necessary APIs already enabled? I'll go ahead and say no. Should I use gcloud shell commands to create the infrastructure? I will say yes. So it has asked you some questions. So what has happened here? It has asked you some questions here, and you're basically answering those questions. And you scroll down, it says propose changes. It says I'll have a main.py file which includes my logic for my backend to process. I have a requirements.txt which includes the necessary packages that I need to install. Then I'll have a Docker file. Why am I using a Docker file? Anyone? Why do we use a Docker file? To? No? I didn't hear you. To containerize your application. That is why you use Docker. So you can't be deploying every single thing one by one. It takes time. So what do? We wrap it up. So imagine you're going to a wedding. Yeah, you have multiple stuff inside your gift box. You don't go ahead and give to the bride and groom one by one. What do? You package it. You wrap it up as one container, or you wrap it up as one gift, and then you give it. So similarly, Docker file basically containerizes your application and then deploys it on cloud. It says, okay, infrastructure configurations, you have to enable APIs. Now, why are we using APIs? What are APIs? To get data from some source, exactly. Yeah, so API acts as a central point if you want to get data from somewhere. Yeah, so you enable some APIs, you create a BigQuery data set, you create a bucket. So like we said in the architecture diagram, and you deploy it to Cloud Run, you set up an event trigger and your verification plan, so your testing plan. Now once I have these in place, I'll go ahead and what do I say? I'll just go ahead and click on submit. Now let's see. It is taken my input. It had asked me some questions. I gave it some input. I said, okay. Now it is going ahead and creating a task. Now once I click on review, it goes ahead and creates a task file. So right here I can see it has gone ahead and created a checklist. You would ideally find and start implementation. There will be a button there. Yeah, either you click on that or you go ahead and click on review. Yeah, once that is done, it will create a tasks.md file. Now what does tasks contain? It is a checklist of whatever needs to be implemented. Now here it says it has to create a BigQuery data set. It has to create my bucket to store my documents. It needs to deploy to Cloud Run service because my backend logic resides in my containerized application. Configure my pub/sub and verify its functionalities. So now my model knows these are the checkpoints that I have to hit regardless of whatever I do. Yeah, so it is waiting for my user input. So it says gcloud config set project. So basically it's going to run this particular gcloud command in my terminal. Now how does this know that it's a gcloud command? Because you already have your CLI installed. Now it's going to run this in your local terminal. You just click on run. Let's see what happens. Okay, it says you need to have a billing updated. Okay, anyways. For you, it will be already enabled because you only have one billing account, only one project. So it doesn't matter. So let's see, it is creating my requirements.txt file. It has created my Docker file. Where do you see that? You see that under files change. That is towards the right-hand corner. So it is going to check the tasks. It's going to create the files accordingly. Now wait and watch what happens. Now Docker file is created, my main.py file, where my core logic goes. That is to extract the data from my documents. That is where main.py file has the contents of main.py file. If you want to view any file, any changes to any file, just click on that file. It will open it up. Yeah, now I can see, okay, these are the functions that it wrote into main.py file. So that is insert into BigQuery. What else is there? It has processed the document. So all this is relative to your backend service. You don't have to understand the code. You just have to check if your logic works. Yeah. Okay, I'll go ahead and close this. Let's see. I'll open up task. Okay, it has gone ahead and created main.py file. It has gone ahead and created all of this. Now it hasn't done any of this. Why? Because I have to link a billing account to my project. Okay, let's see. Let's say link a billing account. I select a billing account, set account. Okay, now I have linked a billing account. I will go back to my agent manager and I will say I have linked my billing account. Let's say billing account has been linked. You wouldn't face that issue because you only have one billing account on one project, so it should ideally go and check all those checklists. Okay, it is asking me for permissions to run commands on my terminal. How many of you are following along? Or are you just watching me put up a show here? Okay, you guys are following along. Proud of you. All right. Now it has asked me, can I run BQ, MK, doc processing? What does that mean? We discussed the service. BQ. 2 words. BigQuery. Who said that? Two of you said that. One is you, one is you. Okay. So BigQuery commands. Now all of this is possible because you have your CLI installed. Yeah. So anything that runs on your local terminal, it's going to be reflected in your Cloud Shell. Now let's see. It goes ahead and creates. It sets up my BigQuery for storage. Let's see. Okay, we're going through. Now it says create my buckets. So gcloud storage buckets. It's going to create my container, or in other words, my storage bucket, your Google Drive. And you can already see that it has checked off whatever is done. So Antigravity's agent knows that, okay, those things were done, so it went ahead and checked it off. Now it asks you the command to deploy. So gcloud run deploy is the command that we use to deploy your containerized application onto cloud. Yeah. So you go ahead and run this. It's basically going to run gcloud run deploy, and doc-processor is going to be your deployment name. The rest of it are just flags. It says the region should be US Central 1, and allow unauthenticated means anyone on the internet can use your application. It's going to take a while for it to deploy. Let's give it some time. How many of you have done deployment and all that? Anyone? Nobody? How many of you are actually trying this out? Okay, a few. I like that. You have a special reward at the end. So for those of you who complete the code lab, it's a relatively simple code lab. You don't have to do anything. You just have to prompt your agent, let it do its work. It's pretty simple. It's fairly simple. Okay, now it has deployed my application. Now it is asking me to set my project number. So this is basically an environment variable here. So I'm going to set project number equal to my project number. So just click on run. You can actually let the agent do it on its own. You just have to change the settings which would allow. So if you go to the settings here, it says review policy. I have set it to ask for review, and terminal command auto execution I set it for request for review. So if you set it to always always proceed, it will automatically go ahead and execute it on its own. You don't have to have any human interaction there. Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily go ahead with that because I want to be in control of what I do. Okay, so my project number was set. I have to set a service account. Now, why is a service account used? Anyone? Why is a service account used? Why do we use a service account? Sorry? No? It is there in the name, service account. Anyone? Service account. It dedicates an account for your services, exactly. That is the answer. So I have multiple services running on my cloud. So I have a BigQuery service running. I have a Cloud Run service running. I have a cloud storage service running. So none of those services can authenticate as me. That is wrong. So instead of that, each of these services have something called as a service account or a unique identity or an identifier which gives it permissions to act on your behalf. Simple. So that it is not you who has done the job, it is a service, that particular service doing the job. Yeah, that is why we create a service account. We'll wait for our agent to do its job. Now, it asks you to run gcloud event arc triggers. Now, what is event arc? Again, it's there in the name. Order of events, okay. What is event arc? Event architecture, no. So if you happen to remember, yeah. Pipeline of an event, yeah, technically yes. So event arc is the trigger. Yeah, just pass it on to him. Yeah, event arc is basically your trigger here. So once, like I said, whenever you upload something to your Google Drive, you will see it processing and you will see a completion state. Yeah. So when a completion state is hit, it triggers an event. That event is what we are pushing to our PubSub. Now, when it hits PubSub, there should be something to take it out from there. Yeah. So that is the trigger. So that is event arc here. You go ahead and enable event arc. So event arc is the trigger here. It is mainly used to drive HTTP driven architecture or event driven architecture. Now, when does event driven architecture come into play? Now, let's say I have an application that I've deployed serverlessly. Yeah. So we know that on cloud, you pay for the time. So time is money. So as long as your instance is running on your Cloud Run service, you are being charged. So instead of that, what if there is one mechanism where your Cloud Run service only comes to life when there is a need for it? You're saving a lot of money there. Yeah, you're not wasting your money. That is where event arc comes into play. So it is basically a trigger that wakes up your agent, does its job, puts it back to sleep. high level idea. Yeah. Now, G-Cloud projects add IAM policy bindings. Now, what IAM policy bindings means is identity access management, IAM. It basically gives your account, your service accounts, permissions to do certain stuff. So, if I am a service account, if I am a user, I do not need permission to go ahead and delete what is there in my database. Right? So I should give a permission to write to my database, not to delete it. So all those rules and policies go into IAM. So that is what add IAM policy binding means. So you go ahead and run that. See, there is no point in running commands one by one without having an idea as to why you are running it. So that is why I'm giving you a high level idea. All right, let's see what happens now. Okay, it says G-Cloud event arc triggers create. Okay, you're creating an event arc trigger. Your only role here is to look at what it wants, approve, approve, approve. You're basically being a director here. You're the orchestrator of the system here. All you have to do is just approve a certain set of commands. All right, so my checklist has been completed. Now my agent has executed all of this. It has gone ahead and crossed off every requirement that I had. How do I verify this? Okay, it's still creating the test document. Okay, let's see. It is going to test. Now it is going to create a sample document. It's going to upload it to my storage bucket and it's going to test it there. Let's see what happens. Now you have to see whether that particular file, after the upload, your Cloud Run service ran and whether it actually populated your BigQuery. That is that command. So BigQuery, whatever the rest is. And it's going to read the logs of your Cloud Run service to check if your Cloud Run service was invoked or not. Okay, so there was some error in the way your PubSub event was being created. So while testing, Antigravity found that out. It went ahead and changed your main.py file, and now it's asking me to redeploy my changes. This is the beauty of Antigravity. You don't have to do anything. It went ahead, it uploaded a file, it checked if it is working, it checked the logs to see if my Cloud Run service was invoked, it checked my BigQuery to see if the metadata, what I processed from my document, came into the BigQuery table. And once it found out that it was not there, it read the logs of my Cloud Run service. And it identified that it was an invalid PubSub configuration. So it went ahead and changed the main.py file, and it is asking me to redeploy it. Now let's see what happens. Now it has created a new test document. It is going to upload that test document to my cloud storage bucket, and it's going to test if that works. Now let's see if it works. Yeah, so this keeps on iterating. So as and when it encounters an error, it goes back and it sort of auto corrects itself and it changes the main.py file. It goes ahead and redeploys the application. It goes ahead and tests it out again. Now, once this is done, once this is done, you will ideally find a walkthrough file here. So instead of all these files, you'll find a walkthrough file. So what that walkthrough file basically tells you is what has it implemented, what has changed, and how the testing went through. So that is what the walkthrough file does. This is basically all about anti-gravity. Yeah, you don't have to technically know how to code. You don't have to technically spend much time on worrying about the architecture, or you just give it a prompt, a well-defined prompt that can give you your output. You explicitly state, okay, this is what my output should look like, or this is what I intend to do, my application. It goes ahead and runs on its own. So that is why we call this as an agentic IDE. It goes ahead, reiterates itself, fixes its own mistake until it has the final output. Yeah, that is all about anti-gravity. You go ahead and try it out on your own. I know you guys are getting restless, but okay. While that is happening, yeah, so you can see here, it goes ahead and creates all the script, the necessary files needed for your deployment. You go ahead and verify your application. It creates a test document, it uploads it to your BigQuery, and this is what your walkthrough file would look like. So it says, okay, these are the changes I've made. Yeah, so see, serverless document pipeline walkthrough. It gives you what has changed, the verification steps, validation, everything. Then you can go ahead and play around with your application, and that pretty much sums up your anti-gravity workshop. Take a minute to let me know your thoughts while your agent is working on the back end. Go ahead and you work on the front end and give me your inputs. Yeah, so if you happen to see here, this is the last iteration what my agent did. It verified that my implementation is working. It went ahead and tested it out. I have a successful application right now. And right now it's generating the walkthrough plan, which would give me what has changed. Yeah. While that is working, if you still haven't taken this down, feel free to. And you can also reach out to me on any of my socials if you happen to have any ideas that you want to discuss, you want to have a chat, I'll be available. Yeah, so with that being said, thank you for being a lovely audience. I hope you have a great evening. Yeah, thank you.